episode of Sports Avenue. We are your hosts, Jimmy and Steve, and today we're on our 15th episode.
15, buddy. 1-5.
Well, Steven and I are going to talk about the hot topics in the world of sports, and on today's agenda, we're going to have a special guest, Evan from Fair Shake Football, baby.
Yeah, the boy. Let's go. Welcome, Evan. Everybody welcome Evan. Go ahead. Hit that bell. Subscribe. Make sure he gets your love. All right? He posts a lot of videos on his Instagram. That's where we saw him. We liked his evaluations. We were like, all right, well, we're gonna go ahead and invite him on the show. So for those of you who don't know what Fair Shake Football is, he does player evaluations of incoming college players to the NFL. All right, so he evaluates different plays, different games of specific people to determine what he sees talent-wise in them and what they can do on the field in-game. It's very important. And in my opinion, he's very good at it. But before we continue, go ahead. We're now on Podbean. We're on Podbean. Download. Listen. Find us, Sports Avenue with jimandsteve.podbean.com. If you're on Podbean or YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. We need those subscribers. And if you're on YouTube, hit that bell.
We only don't just need. We want you.
We want those subscribers. We want them. All right?
We enjoy your company.
We enjoy. Yes, I enjoy talking to our fans very much. Thank you. Follow us on Twitter, @_Sports Avenue. The @ changed. I changed it because it was annoying. Facebook, Sports Avenue with Jim and Steve. Instagram, Sports_Avenue 440. Contact us through our Gmail. It's sportsav440@gmail.com. At this time, we'd like to welcome onto the show Evan from Fair Shake Football. You can find him on Instagram, at Fair Shake Football, and on Twitter at FairShakeFB. You there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, guys. You there?
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. How's it going?
It's going, man. It is going. Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
absolutely, man. Like I said, we talked a little bit before we started recording. Having you on it's good. It's good for us. We don't have a lot of notoriety out there. We don't have a lot of traction. But with your knowledge and everything that we've read up and seen, and you have unquestionable knowledge about it, and so it was really humbling that you come on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm humbled that you're having me, so it's pretty cool.
I feel special. It's a two-way street, man.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, let's go ahead and jump right into this.
Yeah, let's do it.
So Russell Wilson's new contract. Now, do you think it was worth it? First off.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a 30-year-old quarterback. Still in his prime. Really, even you could argue he's just in the beginning stages of his prime. Really, with the way quarterbacks are going to play till they're 40, inevitably. Now, and last year, Russell didn't even run. With the way they committed to actually old school handing the ball off to the running back style of running. Russell barely ran the ball, and he threw a touchdown, I think, every 7 or 8 passes, so it was really efficient quarterback play. And at the end of the day, he's basically the Drew Brees of Seattle. You have to just pay him. I
agree with that. I think at least up to this point, Jimmy and I, we kind of went back and forth on this. I don't necessarily think he's elite until you look at 2018 stats. And to my opinion, he set himself apart from his previous years. 30 touchdowns,
35 and 7.
And it's something like that. It's like he took another step. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, he doesn't necessarily have all the talent. I don't think too highly of Doug Baldwin, and I think Tyler Lockett
consistently made receivers really good. With the way he places the ball on the deep ball, and just I can see where you're coming from when you say he's not elite in one sense, and that's he's not quarterback play. A lot of it is about processing and reacting quickly. Russell makes a lot of his plays, on kind of backyard style football, where he's running around in circles and doing a lot of crazy things, but
that works.
Proven to be able to do it consistently, So
it's absolutely he's not crippled like RG3. He's not, you know what I mean?
And he doesn't take big hits. He doesn't. Really smart.
Yeah, for having a struggling line, he doesn't get hit a lot.
No, he doesn't. But that's the offense they run, though, and that's why they run a lot. Which I get. I think. But in my opinion, if you take away the big running aspect, of that offense.
Right.
I think he struggles a little more, but at the same time, his consistency is there. He's been consistent his entire career. I think he just took another step in
Yeah.
2018.
I think they need to start putting more weapons around him, getting him like a tight end or another wide
man.
receiver.
Well,
Somebody.
you see what happened, like what you said it before. Jimmy Graham, he went to Seattle, and it was, you took a top 3 tight end, and he went to like
Nothing.
bad. So.
I know everybody thought that was going to be a huge addition.
Oh yeah, I did. I was huge on that. I'm like, oh man, this is great. No,
It looked really good on paper. The way Russell throws that fade route and the way Jimmy Graham could jump up and get it, it looked good.
It did. I don't know what happened with it, but yeah, it looked good. So.
Yeah, but Russell just doesn't like utilizing his tight ends like Drew Brees does. It's just really weird. I don't know why.
I don't understand it either necessarily, but
yeah.
Whatever. He's still consistent enough to not need it, I guess.
Right,
so
yeah.
I'm not going to knock that. I just wish they'd have better talent. Like Doug Baldwin, I've never been high on him.
He's not a true number one.
No, he's not. But they make it work somehow. And Tyler Lockett's not a number 2. He's a slot guy. So.
Yeah. Russell makes everybody better, and that's the thing about when you pay him, he makes the they have a pretty bad offensive line, pass blocking wise at least, and he makes them better. He consistently makes receivers, like the guy in the Super Bowl that they lost against the Patriots. There was that one guy that didn't do anything all year, and I don't even think he's in the league anymore. But the guy had like a 100-yard game, and Russell was just throwing him those deep balls in one-on-one against one-on-one, and the guy was catching him because Russell's just placing the ball perfectly. He throws one of the best deep balls in the game, and when he needs to run, he can run. And
he has an ability.
Was it Jermaine Kearse? Maybe.
No, it was. I can't remember his name. I know I'm pretty certain he's not even in the league anymore. But he had a 100-yard game in that one, and it was like out of nowhere. It was like probably just a game plan specific thing where they got him the ball.
Probably targeted away from Malcolm Butler.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. He's like 6'4", 6'5", pretty big receiver.
I can't remember. Well,
yeah.
But that's the kind of that's what Russell can do for you. And his touchdown pass ratio this year was pretty outrageous.
5
touchdowns,
5 to 1.
Yeah, and they were throwing the ball less than anybody. They were old school committed to running the ball.
Yes, and I think that's opens up a lot too. And the play action's got to be deadly in Seattle.
Yeah, a lot of teams that are throwing the ball a lot. I mean, people have a kind of a misconception about Sean McVay in that regard. Like McVay, everybody's like, oh yeah, he's everybody kind of just thinks he's a pass happy coach, when in reality he's been consistently running the ball almost 50% of the time since he's out there. That's like why is Goff so good? You have a really good running back in Todd Gurley, and then you run. Everything looks the same. Every pass play looks like the run play that they run out of that exact formation.
Yep.
And when you can run the ball effectively like that, there's if you notice when Goff hits those guys over the middle on those big RPO style pass plays, guys are open. You know what I mean? Yep. He's not really throwing in tight windows. He's throwing to open receivers because of the run.
Yep. I think if you don't have a dynamic running back, though,
Goff's going to struggle.
And Gurley, Goff's going to struggle.
And that might happen this year. Goff's by himself because the arthritis in Gurley's knee might kill his career. I
heard that was bad. I mean, and I don't think I'm a huge fan of Patrick Mahomes. I think without that clear-cut Kareem Hunt, I don't know if he has the numbers that he had last year's MVP numbers.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes is great, but
yes,
you have to think about him having Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, Kareem Hunt, really good offensive line.
Yeah.
It helps. I mean, your guy, Baker Mayfield, came into everybody acts like Josh Rosen had such a bad supporting cast when he did have a bad offensive line. But if you would have told me to rank the supporting cast before the season started last year, I mean, you guys had Landry. Your offensive line wasn't.
Terrible. Yeah, it wasn't awful.
It was like okay, but other than that, Baker would have arguably been up there with worst supporting cast, but he just happened to just kill it. So everybody thinks nobody ever brings up that he didn't have the greatest supporting cast.
Yeah, I mean it's funny to look at it like that, but I mean, Njoku had actually a pretty decent year. He took a big leap in his second year. But nobody really, I don't think I necessarily expected that after year one.
Right.
And then Landry had 80 catch, almost 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was just, I think it was Callaway, then Higgins, or Higgins
Right.
and Callaway. But I
And
mean, after
Callaway's
that,
a 4th-round rookie.
yeah,
You know what I mean. So it wasn't. Baker, about processing and reacting, Baker was doing that. Like there was, he didn't even hone in on Landry too much because
No.
he just did where his read, he threw it where his reads took him. You know what I mean? And that's good quarterback play at the end of the day.
Right, because he was good at distributing the ball to all his receivers a lot usually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody was spread out. Like I think it was like top three had a lot of spread out catches, and then it just started dropping from there. But I think that seemed to be average on most teams that threw a lot and that had, their starters like that. So, but I don't know with OBJ now. I'm all excited.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, do you take away from the run? Do you throw more? Do you throw the exact same? But are the plays going to be set up even better because you have such a dynamic backfield now? I mean, there's so many questions, and I think that I caught myself getting a little too hyped up, and I had to take a step back and go, okay, well, we haven't seen anything yet. So
Right. And I think Baker is like the perfect quarterback for this situation because Baker is not going to let Odell, he's not going to let Odell get in his head to where if Odell just wants the ball, and he kind of has one of those type of games where he's like, give me the damn ball. Baker's going to be like, I'll give you the ball when you're open. Baker's just feisty enough. And
yeah, he is.
He's not going to let that kind of stuff get to him too much, I don't think so.
I agree with that. That's what I'm hoping with. I think the connection between Freddie Kitchens and Baker is special, but at the same time, he's still an unproven head coach. He's
right.
So
and the loss of Zeitler is going to hurt. I think I like Austin Corbett, but we haven't seen him play yet. So I think that's something that I'd like to see you guys address the guard position in the draft.
Definitely
too.
Tells you to, but I liked Corbett watching him last year. So, watching him 2 years ago in the pre-draft process, I liked him. But is that who you guys are planning on replacing Zeitler with? Corbett?
Yeah, that's the talk currently. Yeah. But in all the mocks I've done, I got him taking a alignment of some sort, and it seems that the kid, what the hell is his name?
Michael Jordan.
Is it Michael Jordan
from Ohio State?
Yeah. The lineman. He can play center. He can play both guard spots.
Yeah.
He's the first 4-year starter since Orlando Pace.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like he's bad. He comes from a bad cut. So I wouldn't hate that at all.
Somebody I just watched and I hadn't watched before I made my last mock draft is Connor McGovern from Penn State.
Okay.
McGovern is really good. I actually think that there's a chance he can go in the first round, but if he was somehow there, where you guys pick, what is it, 50?
49.
Yeah.
49? Okay. He could be there, and I think that would be a really good pick. And then just let him and Corbett duke it out, to see who rises to the top.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because, I mean, we have Browns have already had their 2 starting tackles. And then they went and they got they picked up Kendall Lamb in free agency, and I think
Eric Kush.
And Eric Kush. Well, yeah, that's right. He's an inside guy though. But outside of that, they don't really have any depth.
Right.
So, I mean,
and it's kind of the same thing on the defensive line too. You have really good stud starting lineup, but you need to add some depth pieces there too.
I agree with that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into it a little more. We rambled on. That was a good conversation.
Yeah.
Do you have like a top 10 favorite prospects that you really been watching or really like watching this year?
Yeah, I do. I think you mean just top 10 guys I like or top 10 players overall?
Top 10 guys you like.
Okay. I really like Darnell Savage, safety from Maryland. I really like Deebo Samuel.
I saw that video. Yeah, you like Samuel, yeah.
I really like him. Like I think he's just like DJ Moore to me, and people say he has injury concerns, but I mean he does. But he played the entire season last year, and he also played Senior Bowl, practices. I was at the Senior Bowl and he dominated. Nobody could cover him during practice, and he also played in the game. So it's like to me, I feel pretty comfortable saying I'm not worried about the injury concerns there.
Okay.
Can't be that serious.
I think he's DJ Moore, and DJ Moore was a first rounder last year. Nobody seems to put Debo into the first round. It's kind of
nope. I haven't seen him go first round at all. It's all been DK Metcalf.
Yeah, and DK is good, but he had a neck injury and he had some other injuries there at Ole Miss. So it's like, and he can't move laterally the way Debo can. Debo is a complete receiver,
Yes.
DK, I still love DK's upside, but
but he's got to learn. He's got to learn to run routes. How'd you put it? How'd you put it, Jimmy?
You can only run straight.
If you can only run straight, and your hands are one of your most questionable traits, I don't think you're gonna do well.
Right. I think that he would be a perfect fit for somebody that has a number one receiver. DK.
Yeah, I agree.
If you have a one and he can he has one-on-one matchups to explain, just run deep and then run deep routes and then run deep comebacks or deep in cuts, like deep crossers. If deep to intermediate is where he can win.
Yes.
But like he's not going to run he's not going to be able to run the whole route tree.
No, I don't think so either.
Oh, might yank a hip or something.
I guess the neck injury scares me, and his production wasn't like off the charts incredible either.
Yeah, AJ Brown was like.
I like AJ Brown. AJ Brown's my receiver one.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like AJ Brown too. I wish I would have seen him play more on the outside.
I agree. Yeah, the whole slot thing's killing me, but I look at him 6'1", that's a big slot guy. I think he could be a number 2 in the league.
And the way I'm pretty sure his athletic testing was good enough to lead you to believe he could translate as an outside receiver and not just a slot guy.
Yeah, I think his upside is 2, but like a high 2.
Yeah. I really like the corner I just watched yesterday for the first time. His name is Joejuan Williams.
Yeah, we actually saw that.
Yeah.
We're sitting there and Jimmy looks at me, he's like, "Hey, check this out." I'm like, "Whoa."
6'4", 200 pounds. That's insane for a corner.
Yeah, and something to really keep an eye on is when Gil Brandt invites a prospect to the draft, that means Gil Brandt knows everything. And if Gil Brandt invites you to the draft, you have a real chance to go in the first round. Everybody he invites to the draft, there might be like 2 or 3 of them that don't go in the first round. So he was a late invite. Him, and what really surprised me was the running back from Memphis, Darrell Henderson.
I like Henderson.
I like him too, but I can't believe when Gil Brandt invited him to the draft, I'm like, oh man, is he really going to go in the first round?
See, I think he's already. Well, hold on, let me look at this because I'm pretty sure he's my RB1.
We were watching some of his highlights against Ole Miss though, Joejuan Williams, and the one thing I did notice is that he loves playing hands-on press. That's like his. That's
he is in your face, and he can change direction like a little guy. He's 6'4".
Yes, he can. Yeah, that's
my only concern is when he played back, he did struggle to play those comeback routes, and that's kind of where I think.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so even if he gave up the catch, he was right there on the guy.
Oh yeah.
So he was making the tackle. Yeah. So I mean, you can.
He has weaknesses. He needs to contest the ball better on like the 50-50 balls. I with his size, I'd like to see him. I saw him give up a couple of touchdowns where it was like he was in really good position and he just didn't challenge the ball.
We saw that. We saw that in your clip too. Yeah, we agreed on that. I was like, yeah, he was right there. I mean, what kind of better coverage do you want? It was just a really good catch.
Right.
There's some times where he played like good run support too, but then there's sometimes he just didn't want to like get in. It was like inconsistent, like 50-50.
Yeah. But and there's a little bit of question on his deep speed, which I'm not overly worried about that because I think that NFL coaches can if it really is an issue, they can put him in positions where it's not exposed.
Right, like drop him into a zone or something, or have safety support.
Right, and I've seen him play zone with his eyes, and I've seen him. I know he can do that as well. I really like him as a press man corner. And the weird thing is, he's 6'4", 211, but he almost has a skill set that if you wanted to, you could make him your nickel corner. like because he can really change direction that well.
Yeah.
It's weird to think like that because that's like not typical, but he's willing enough in run support and he can change direction well enough that he could, I think, if you needed him to, he could play some nickel. I still like him on the outside better, but
yeah, I like him on the
nickel
outside.
corner.
But yeah, he could definitely. I think you can move him.
Yeah, I like his physicality.
Oh, man.
I think that's something like that's really underrated. Like
Especially a corner.
especially with the press. Like I mean, he was running your face. Like his only problem was just playing shallow. That was really it.
Right. Yeah, he's gonna go earlier than people think, and with Gill inviting him to the draft, he might go in the first round.
Yeah, it might surprise some people. I'd like that. All right, Joejuan Williams.
And then
I like the tape.
I really, really like David Montgomery, running back from Iowa State. I think that to me, it's like such an easy evaluation of him. It's kind of weird that everyone is so high on Josh Jacobs as RB1. Just watch the way David Montgomery creates his own yards. Like, he has very good vision. He's patient. He can create his own yards. Like, he didn't have a very good offensive line at Iowa State.
No.
And, he would have averaged a lot more yards per carry if he was at Alabama. Let's put it like that.
All right.
Who would you compare him to, or if you want to finish, but like who would you compare him to as an NFL back?
Man, almost like a Matt Forte.
Okay.
Like he can catch as well. He's a complete back. He's kind of like or maybe even David Johnson.
Okay.
He's not as big as David Johnson, but
but he can do everything.
Yeah, he's my number one running back for sure.
All right, so for time's sake, we'll do 5 instead of 10.
Yeah.
This is gonna be really long.
I really like Miles Sanders too, a Penn State running back.
There you go.
I think that more people would be talking about him if he wasn't, unfortunately for him, following up a tough act to follow. Saquon Barkley,
Yep, that's exactly what we were saying.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Alvin Kamara a little bit in his running style, but he's a little bit bigger. So I think he can be an every down back. He can catch. He didn't have a ton of receiving production, but from what I've seen, I'm confident enough to project him as a capable receiving back as well. He's got really good vision.
He got a lot of catches. He seemed consistent. Yep. Yeah, I like what I saw. Him looking at production and looking at some of the tape. He looked very, very solid. He's a confident runner. He doesn't.
Yeah, he's very confident. I'll give you a corner that I really like other than Joejuan Williams.
Okay.
If for some reason this guy kind of gets lost in the shuffle when we're talking about number one corner, but DeAndre Baker from Georgia is just that's another
I don't know
easy
why
one for
people
me.
are sleeping on him.
Yeah, everyone was like, I thought everyone was high on him, like earlier in the season. Then like right after the season ended, his face dropped off the face of the earth.
Yep.
And they're like, what's going on?
Yeah, that happens sometimes. It's like media is looking for like that guy nobody's talking about or whatever, and it's like just do the right answer. How about that? DeAndre Baker's the best corner. I mean, he's not 6'2" like Greedy and Joejuan Williams, or Joejuan Williams is 6'4", but he's like 5'11" or 6 foot somewhere in there, but he has 32-inch arms, and he plays. When I first was studying him, I wrote he plays a lot bigger than his 5'11", 185-pound frame would lead you to believe. Almost kind of like Denzel Ward last year. But the reason he's played so much big is because he's so physical and he has really long arms. So
he knows how to tackle, unlike Denzel Ward.
Yeah. He almost reminds me of a little bit of Darrelle Revis, to be honest with you.
I like Baker a lot.
Yeah.
I mean the top of the cornerback class is what you got 6 guys. You can argue that could be 1 or 2,
mm-hmm.
and Baker. If the Browns ended up going corner at 49, I think that'd be a good move, and I think one of our top 6 are going to be there. So
I
go ahead.
posted on Twitter last night that I think it was I have 10. I believe it's 10. I'll double check, but it's 10 second round corners with second round grades. It's either second round or combined second and first round, but it's a lot. The point is, what I posted on Twitter was I think that I wouldn't be stunned if a corner, or maybe just one corner, is only one corner drafted in the first round. Would not surprise me.
Yeah.
I could also see 3 or 4, but like just because of the
Yeah.
depth there,
Yeah.
I really it makes sense, for teams to just wait in the second round, and the talent drop off isn't so significant, if you wait to get one in round 2. So
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what you could look at. A lot of people were high on Baker, on DeAndre Baker, coming to the end of college football.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, he dropped off. But Justin Lane shut up a lot of people's boards. Julian Love from Notre Dame.
That guy had 40 plays on the ball over 2 years, either pass deflections or interceptions. 40 over 2 years.
That's insane. I love that. That's what I want. I love a good corner that can play man coverage. He plays it rough. He plays it physical. And that's I like Julian Love like that. So
you want a good game to watch him. Watch him against Stanford. I think our Arcega-Whiteside, receiver, he can really separate. I like him a lot too. He can really separate. And if you watch Love versus him, Love makes some plays on the ball on some like little hitch routes or comeback routes that like he shouldn't have been able to stop, change direction, and then pursue the ball the way he did. And that was when I was just like, oh, wow. And I was like, let me see what his athletic testing numbers are. And his 3-cone is – and his agility drills were, like, through the roof, like, outrageously good. So his deep speed is a question, and it does show up when you watch him. Like, there's going to be times where he just gets outran,
Yeah.
But, again, NFL coaching, especially I'm very familiar with your defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks. I'm a Panther fan. So
all right.
I know Steve Wilks very well as far as just kind of like how he's going to be really aggressive, but he's also going to stress nothing over the top, so make them earn it. And the reason why the Panthers would get a lot of turnovers is because they'd make teams earn it. So it'd be like teams have an easier time moving down the field, and then all of a sudden a mistake happens, you know what I mean? Because pressure.
Yep.
So,
yep. All right.
In the red zone, things get condensed. And Julian Love is a guy that if you have him, I think he could play inside also. I think he could be a definite nickel corner.
I could see that. Yeah,
outside.
With the size, definitely.
Yeah.
I think he can tackle too. I think he's a good run support guy. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. He could get a little bit better there, but he's willing. That'd be the only question for inside for him. But like inside would be able to, you could kind of like not worry as much about his top end speed if he played inside. But I think in a zone defense, he can easily play outside.
Okay.
Yeah, I like what I saw in him, but you know what? Let's go ahead and let's move on. Let's review your 2-round mock. We had some key players. We went through it all. We found some key picks that you went with that we were like interesting. I thought it was very standoutish. I wanted to ask you about that.
Right. I mean, just to be clear, my mocks are. I don't think that they're going to happen the way I do my mocks, but I just do based on how I grade the guys. So.
Yeah, and that's why I want to talk to you about it, because I know looking at your evaluations, you go about it in a completely different way.
Right.
So I wanted to hear your take because I like your take, and it's completely it's almost 100% different than anything else we're hearing. So but it's in my opinion it's more realistic. So the only one that I did question, I questioned Haskins at 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so last year, when leading up to the pre-draft process, I was very critical of Rosen. I didn't like him. I had him, I think, as like an early mid-second round grade, and I just felt like I was just worried about a lot of different things. Other than even if you just take away, like obviously he has obvious arm talent as a passer. He can play the position in the NFL talent-wise, but durability and attitude concerns. Like his college coach basically said, yeah, if you stimulate him enough, he'll love football. Like, it was kind of like a weird quote that he said.
I remember hearing that, and that turned me off. I'm like, forget it, because
I was pounding the table for Baker Mayfield all pre-draft, and everybody was like, Baker's the next Johnny Manziel. Believe it or not, a lot of Browns fans really hated me during the pre-draft process because I was like, I said, you think Rosen's the most pro-ready? No, Baker Mayfield's the most pro-ready. He can step into a huddle and command respect. Like,
Yeah.
like aggressively command respect out of grown men, and he did. But with Rosen, I just wanted to get that out there because if I were the Cardinals GM and that's how I made these picks, I don't believe in Rosen, and his rookie season did nothing to change that.
So it was bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. He was arguably one of the worst in the league. And then you look at his supporting cast and his line, and it's like his supporting cast. I think there's a lot of talent there.
I mean, David Johnson's a top 5 running back in the NFL. Yes. Larry Fitzgerald's a Hall of Famer. Christian Kirk had a really good rookie season.
Yes, he did.
Even though he had no quarterback throwing to him.
Yeah.
Their line was bad, no doubt about it. They need to improve the offensive line, but
David Johnson got hurt and he was done for the rest of the year too. Or it was kind of like it was just kind of got ugly as the season went on.
Yeah, but so I think Haskins. Everybody talks about the fit that Kyler Murray would be in Arizona, and I do agree. But I think Haskins could fit the system just as easily, and I think he's a lot more mobile than people give him credit for.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because he doesn't have that. He doesn't have like that 4.5 speed. But when we were like we watch Ohio State obviously, but like he's able to move in the pocket. I think when I think of like mobile quarterbacks, I don't think necessarily they just sprint. They are able to make moves in the pocket as well.
I mean, if you look at his athletic testing numbers, they're like almost identical to Jameis Winston's. So Jameis is mobile.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he gets docked so hard for it's almost like they think he's Tom Brady. Like he's as far as mobility, he's mobile.
Yeah,
mobile.
Watching Brady try and run is just funny.
Like he's
it's bad.
You're not necessarily going to run RPOs, but at the same time, if he needs to make a play with his legs, he will do it.
I think Haskins could. I think he could sit back there and just.
Yeah, but he's pass first, obviously.
Well, obviously.
I'd rather have that than a guy that likes to run.
Yeah, exactly, but I think that it's almost it's a good thing that he is capable to get you 8 or 6 yards, whatever, on a running play if you need him to. But he wants to pass the ball from the pocket. He wants to process and react and make decisions from the pocket. Like I think he's ahead of the game in that regard. And I think that, look, he had 50 touchdowns. He averaged 9 yards per attempt, and with a lot of the routes being short routes, that means he's making the correct decision quickly. You know what I mean? And allowing guys delivering the ball accurately so they can run after the catch. So, Haskins, he's really, the media is portraying him a certain way lately. It's kind of, it's not, I don't think that that's how NFL teams feel. I think that there's some NFL teams in the middle of the first round that are like, let's push this narrative so we can possibly trade up or he'll come to us.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I like Haskins a lot. So, and I do think he's a good fit there. So that's why I went with him over.
I like
everybody else. But I'll tell you what, if you guys have paid any attention to my Instagram, I rewatched Drew Lock again.
Yeah.
Drew Lock is way better than people think. I guess higher on him than people think.
I was just saying that. I'm like, man, now, mind you, I didn't watch a lot of tape on him at the time, but I'm sitting there and I watched yours. I watched your evaluation of him. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, I like his reads. You can see him physically reading and checking down, and he makes the right throw time and time again.
And if you want to talk about just arm talent, like the ball pops off of his hand when he throws, he releases it. And
his arm talent is insane.
He kind of reminds me, he has like a Patrick Mahomes-esque like feel to him. The way he throws it too.
Yes.
Absolutely, he does, and people don't really, again, they don't really associate him with athleticism, but he had scholarship offers to play basketball in college. He was.
I can see that.
I'm not sure if he did or not, but I know he was considering playing basketball at Missouri as well. So like he can. To me, basketball players have a certain level of athleticism that football players usually don't have.
Like agility.
It's just a. So when you watch him, he can pick up some yards after if he needs to on the ground. He's got really. I love the way he carries out his fakes. He's really good ball handler, and that's the kind of that basketball hand-eye coordination type of thing.
Right.
He's he's very, very confident with the ball in his ball handling, and I see him go through more 3 progression reads than I do of any quarterback in the class. So, you know, like 1, 2, 3. He's really and he hit full field reads and everything. Like he is playing, and he has a very high football IQ. And I don't think people are even talking about it. I guarantee you, there's an NFL team that loves that he's flying under the radar the way he is.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like a team that like should draft him like would be like Denver.
Then you know what I was going to ask you, because I wanted to ask, you know, Devin Bush to Denver at 10 and not taking a quarterback. That seems kind of silly.
Right. Yeah. And
I think Denver, one of the
on the board there. I kind of just that time. Okay, so I do what I would do, but I also factor in kind of like the personality of the GM, you know, and John Elway is a hyper competitor and he wants to win. You know, that's why he traded for Flacco. Now, Flacco's not in my first mock. I had Drew Lock going to Denver.
Right.
But John Elway wants to win this year. Like everything he's ever done is about winning this year. He's not a big, you know, like
wait till next year.
Yeah, right. He's not a big wait and see. He's a big hag. You know?
Yeah, like him drafting Bradley Chubb last year instead of Josh Allen. You know,
right?
And I know he had to have liked Josh Allen.
Yeah,
he had 12 sacks as a rookie.
Yeah,
Bradley Chubb had a 12-sack rookie season, and you know it helped them. But yeah, I mean that was the reason they need another middle linebacker, and Devin Bush moves like a corner at 230 pounds, and he has 32-inch arms. So the fact that he's shorter in height doesn't bother me at all, because it's about length and instincts, and he has both. You know what I mean? So, like, he has as long of arms as Roquan Smith last year. As he has the same arm length as Thomas Davis. And when you couple that with instincts, so everybody's high on Blake Cashman. You know, I noticed because of his athletic testing, the linebacker.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, second round. But here's the problem: he doesn't have arm length, and he doesn't have very good instincts. So just because you can move, he can move at an elite level for his size, you know, agility and overall movement skills. But if you're a tick slow processing and you don't have the length to punch a guard, you know, or to get off a block from a guard.
Yeah, if you can't block shit,
you're in trouble. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to. That's where it becomes an issue. If you lack length, but you have great instincts, then I can live. You know what I mean? That's a compensating factor. But if you,
that's why I like this guy. That's why I like this guy, because instincts. Jimmy and I were talking about him. We're like, you know what? People. You know, yes, you need talent to an extent. You need to be able to work for something. But if you don't have instincts and you have talent, you have nothing.
Right.
Now, if you have instincts and you lack a little talent, you can make up for it.
Yeah, instincts and fundamentals will drive you. That's why the Patriots have been good for years, because they do the little things right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a little bit slower if you're already moving in the right direction. You know what I mean? That's what instincts are. Bush has great instincts, and the thing I love about Bush is I think I wrote when I was studying him, I wrote down, obviously loves the game. Like, his passion is blatant. You know what I mean? Like, that's like when he's playing, it's like you don't question whether he loves the game. You know, those types of silly questions, that's not something you'll ever say if you watch Bush play. So yeah, I think if Denver elects to go non-quarterback there, if they just say, look, let's just put that off and try to win a championship this year and do everything we can to improve our team for this season, I think Devin Bush, if he's there, is a really solid option. You know, he'll plug and play, you know, he'll be one of the better linebackers.
Yeah, he'll definitely start.
Yeah, I think he'll start wherever he goes drafted. Now, I wanted to ask about Nick Bosa at 4 after Josh Allen. I thought that was strange.
Yeah, so I really, really like Bosa. It's not any knock on him, but
we know that.
Yeah, we know that. I think I know what you're gonna say. I just want to be sure.
It's just the upside, you know. It's just in the situation for the Jets, right? The Jets are at 3.
Yes.
Yeah. So Allen, I think Greg Williams will do a lot of exotic front kind of thing, and
yeah.
So when you're standing up from a 2-point stance, I think I like Allen better than Bosa, right?
Just I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
His speed off the ball. Yeah.
Right. And then if you want to say, like, look, the Jets in my opinion, if I was making that pick as the GM of the Jets, I'm thinking, look, Bosa is better today. He's a decent amount better than Allen today. So like, if it was like a team where you're saying like, all right, we just need to make sure we're the best team we can be today, as in, are they closer to contending, or is it a team where you want to bet on upside and scheme? He kind of fits the scheme a little bit better also, so like I just went with it because of upside and because they have time to I think Allen basically is half a season behind Bosa as far as when he'll start producing. I think he's a little bit reliant on his speed rush. And I think when he can actually learn to mix up his rushes and have more of a plan and counter with things that Bosa already can do, and it should be about week 6 to 8, when he figures that out, at worst, I think. So when that happens, it's just if he gets it all put together, sheesh, he's like 270 pounds with length and athleticism and
it's not like he can't put his hand.
He can drop and cover too. Yeah, and he can put his hand in the dirt.
Exactly.
So whatever scheme you want to run, he can do it. He can do it.
Yeah. I don't see Bosa dropping out, into coverage necessarily, and I don't really like him as a stand-up outside linebacker. So
I like Bosa with his hand in the dirt.
Yep.
Setting a strong edge against the run and he already has a nice repertoire of rush moves. It's just like San Francisco would make more sense for Bosa, but I'm taking best player available that high, and Quinnen is just interior pressure.
He's an animal. Yeah.
He's in my opinion, Quinnen's he's number 1 player in this draft.
Yeah. So I'm always gonna go best player available unless certain things, unless the grade is close enough to justify, right? So that's why I went Allen over Bosa, because the grade is close enough to justify taking Allen over Bosa because of he's slightly better scheme fit. And his upside is higher than Bosa's.
That's fair. I like that.
Do you think like Bosa would fit in Oakland though?
Oh yeah, Bosa in Oakland, absolutely.
Okay.
I think because they're just, I think they're going to be that, the Bosa next to Maurice Hurst, who I don't know why he fell to the 5th round last year, is a penetrating 1-gap penetrator 3 tech. That's eerily, it could end up being down the road eerily similar to Gruden's old Buccaneer front, where you had Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice, and you know what I mean, just those kind of.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, man, that could be something really special.
Yeah. Or wasn't it Javon Curse there too? As a defensive end.
Maybe not. I know it was Derek. I know Derek Brooks was an outside backer.
Yeah. Oh, God, he was gross, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. So Jacksonville, you had Hockenson go at 7. Now, T.J. Hockenson is my tight end 1, without a doubt, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no question.
But offensive tackle or guard even for Jacksonville.
Well, okay, so Juwan Taylor went at 6, and he's Hockenson is just graded higher than Dillard to me, and I love Dillard, and that would be the only other offensive tackle that I would consider there. I could do it. I could live with that, but Hockenson, here's the thing, how I can justify that is he's graded higher enough over Dillard for me to put him at that spot, and he's such a good blocker that he actually improve. If you need him to stay and help in pass protection or run blocking, he can do that. So all
right, fair enough. I like that.
And I honestly believe Hockenson can be a top 5 tight end in year 1.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially with like how Iowa's been like loading up with tight ends coming out. I mean George Kittle.
Yes, his run blocking. He's not gonna beat you with the speed, but he can sit there. He can pop you. He can bury his shoulder and run you over. He can block you down. He can pancake you. He can catch passes. In my opinion, he's just a younger, smaller Gronk.
Right. Yeah, I compare him to George Kittle, another Iowa tight end.
I love George Kittle.
Really similar to George Kittle in a lot of ways, because George Kittle, not only can he, he's a good receiver and everything, but he can run after the catch. He can really.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Hockenson can too, and also they're punishing blockers. Like those guys are. Good blockers.
Yes. I agree with that. Jonah Williams. Now to the Chargers at 28. When this all started coming around, Jonah Williams was like tackle 1.
Yeah.
But a lot of people got him moving inside to guard or even center. People are saying he's gonna be a Pro Bowl center rookie year.
Yeah, he would be, I think.
I agree with that too. I just wanted to ask you about that. If you thought maybe he'd be able to stay at tackle somewhere, or if he is going to indeed inside.
I think he can play tackle, but I think he gives you the position flexibility if you like for the Chargers' sake. If they needed him to play inside, for while they still have Okung for a year, then he could do that for them and be a day one starter and upgrade over. I think it's Dan Feeney, is one of their starting guards that he would easily replace.
Yeah.
And then Okung's deal is an easy one for the Chargers to get out of if they ever, let's say next year they wanted to, okay, we're going to step in with Jonah at left tackle now and get rid of Okung. They can do that pretty on the cheap as far as dead money and with guaranteed money and stuff like that. So the only real concern, the only reason I'm not higher on Jonah, because he's really technically sound and he's just a good, solid, safe player. His functional strength and ability to really lock out at the pro level is something that I'm a little bit worried about. I like.
So that makes sense. You move into guard and center, so he has that support instead of on an island as left tackle.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable that he can play left tackle. It's just, is he worth a top 10 pick?
Right.
That's fair. That's fair. Because I've sat there and, when I first heard it, I'm like, well, wait a minute, what the hell? He was left tackle at Bama. And then you look at it and you really evaluate, arm length. And it's not that he can't lock out, but it won't be effective enough.
Right. Yeah. And the pro game, like, I heard him in an interview and the interviewer was asking him, he's like, so, I'm sure a lot of guys want to try to convert speed to power on you. And he was like, well, yeah, but that didn't really work because I didn't give up a sack, and I was like, I didn't really like his tone in that answer. But other than that, it's like, okay, that didn't work at the college level. You know what I mean? Right. We're talking about professionals now. Like I just think people really underestimate the difference of competition sometimes. If you think, well, that didn't work in college, it's not going to work in the pros. Like, be careful, man.
Yeah.
Those guys are a lot stronger. Those are grown men you're talking about, not 18, 19, 20-year-old kids.
Yeah, that's
grown men.
That is true. Right. Now, Paris Campbell to New England at 32. I thought that was really intriguing.
I just think that's like such a good fit. You know what I mean? Paris. I think that Paris has. People like to label him like a gadget player and stuff like that, and I really think that I think he can play outside receiver as well. I think his play strength is much better than you would believe, and I know he has a little knock on his hands, but when I watched him this year, I see a hands catcher and strong hands. So, and he said, I read somewhere that he did nothing but work on his hands all off season leading up to this year.
Yeah.
So, I just think that Paris Campbell's highly underrated, and in that offense with the Patriots, where he could catch the quick ones, right away, like until he progresses as an NFL route runner, I think he'd be just dynamic after the catch with the way they would use him too. Like they would put him in situations to maximize what he can do, and that's, the guy's a serious athlete too. I think he's a 4-flat short shuttle guy and a 4.3, like legit 4.3 play speed, not just in your underwear. Like he can play at 4.3.
Yeah, and he had the production too at Ohio State. Like he had like 90-something catches too.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like
he's not a slouch.
Yeah, no slouch there.
People act like he can't run routes, but he had insane reception production. Like if you're not just open, you know what I mean. You have to get open. Like
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
He can run routes. If he can't run routes today, I can confidently project his ability to run routes based on who he is as an athlete and a player, so it's
right,
I agree.
Safe.
You can learn too.
I agree.
You definitely will.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead and finish. I was going to ask you.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to say with his movement skills and he's already a natural receiver. It's I can have the confidence to project the ability to run NFL routes. The whole tree.
Yeah, I agree with that. Whole tree. I agree with that. Now, a lot of people have been knocking him since his combine, even though he did so well in college. Jalen Ferguson.
Yeah.
To Atlanta at 45. Now, my notes say it seems early because of poor combine, but I looked at his stats. I looked at, it doesn't matter if you run slow or not. If you're going to produce like that, you're going to have that IQ like that.
17 and a half sacks.
You may be slow, but if you're going to get, like you said earlier,
game speed.
Yep. Game speed looked good.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and for him, I just
sleeping on him.
Yeah, with the production level he had, I mean, that like over a 4-year span, and it was just consistent production. I actually had to go back and watch him because I didn't want to be wrong, and I went, and I do this sometimes on guys that I'm like, I'm not, I kind of like, maybe I'm sleeping on this guy. Maybe I'm not, because I had him as a third round grade, and I went back and watched him again, and I just think that he has translatable traits, which is really what this is all about. There's good college players, and then there's guys that you can confidently project can be good NFL players, and I think Ferguson is just that guy.
I agree.
Do you think to Atlanta would work though, just because like their defense isn't as strong and he would still need to develop?
I think he's pretty ready to play. Number one. Number two, I think Atlanta needs to stop drafting 250-pound defensive ends. They're a 4-3 team, and they're getting run over. They need to draft a 270-pound defensive end. You know what I mean? Not an edge rusher,
right? Yeah.
Defensive end. I think that's part of their problem. And if you notice, I think the first round I gave them Christian Wilkins, right?
Yes.
So, let's just say if I was the GM of Atlanta, that's tough to ignore. Being able to say Christian Wilkins is a top 10 player in the draft. So him falling to them at 13 or 14, wherever, is really good value. And he is a plug and play day one disruptor from the inside. And then you now double dip on that defensive line and add a guy like Jalen Ferguson, who's a big defensive end. And Vic Beasley's a fifth-year option guy. He's not going to. I don't think they'll be able to re-sign him with their money scenario.
No, but
and that makes more sense also from having Ferguson, a big defensive end on one side, and then for the future to tack McKinley on the other side as your kind of speed rusher guy. Right. You know what I mean? And then you got the big 2 defensive tackles in the middle, Grady Jarrett, the 2 Clemson guys, Grady Jarrett and Christian Wilkins. Now you have a formidable defensive front.
Yeah, that's a nice 4 right there.
Yeah, that could flip. That could flip really nice. All right, so now you had a couple in your mock, but potential draft day trades. Which ones do you actually think are most likely to happen?
I think Kansas City is going to trade with Seattle. I really think that that's just something that makes sense to me. If an edge rusher, they need a defensive end, a 4-3 defensive end, because they've obviously for them to let
D Ford and Houston walk.
D Ford, Justin Houston, and Alvin Bailey, all 3 walk, and that was like 28 out of their league-leading 56 sacks. Those 3 guys, to let them all walk for a next year second or third or something that they got for D Ford. And Justin Houston they just cut. I don't get it. And they signed Alex Oka for a rotational defensive end from the Saints, who's like, I mean, he's all right, but
not a starter.
They need, and I like Breland Speaks, and I always liked Passanio. I liked him a few years ago, watching him leading up to the draft, but he hasn't proven anything. He was like inactive a lot of games. It's just, to me, you don't want to let talent walk out the door without replacing it with talent, So I think that Seattle only has 4 picks. The Chiefs have 3 picks in the first 2 rounds, and that jump from 30 to 29 to 22, I think.
Seattle's 21 and
30.
29. Okay. So it was
8 spots. They could give him. They'll have to give him a second rounder, I think. I don't think I put that in this mock, which I'm wrong on, but they'll have to give him a second rounder, and I just think that if Montez Sweat fell to there, I think they do it in a second. I don't know if Montez Sweat will fall to there. The only reason he would is because of the health issues, but he was cleared to participate at the combine. So, so I think that if a legitimate defensive end falls to 21, I think the Chiefs would do that in a heartbeat. I also think the Patriots.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they should
would
too.
be a good fit there. Just
Yeah,
because
like they're a win now team. You know, they're not like how I described the Jets earlier when you can wait on upside. They're a win now team, and they have a gaping hole at defensive end right now, whether anybody wants to admit it or not.
Oh,
They need a defensive end now. They let Justin Houston and D Ford walk. That was like a combined 24 sacks or 20.
And they're gonna need a corner too because they just let one of their best corners walk, Steven Nelson, to the Steelers.
Yep.
And the good thing for them is there's a bunch of second round graded corners, at least in my eyes. So
Right.
you still have a second round pick if you do trade up and grab. So if they can out of the first 2 rounds can add a Montez Sweat caliber defensive end, or any or even Rashawn Gary, and let him kick inside on pass downs.
Yeah.
And then come back in the second round and add somebody like Jojuan Williams or Byron Murphy. Or
who else is going to be there? I mean, there's going to be plenty of talent there in the second, in my opinion.
David Long, I think, is a good option in the second round.
David Long's not a bad spot. I like
Julian Love.
Yeah.
There's so if they can come away with a legitimate defensive end like that in the first round, and then a solid starting corner, I think that's for a win now team. I would take that over taking like if they miss out on a defensive end entirely in the first round because of where they pick. I think I would take that over the 3 players out of the first 2 rounds. I would take 2 day one starter impact type guys over 3 guys that may not be as big of impacts.
Go.
I have a quick question. What do you think of Ben Burr-Kirven?
I'm actually planning on watching him today. I've heard a lot of good things about him.
See, I'm very high on Burr-Kirven. Like he's my
just because of his to me his production's like that's just like it's almost unmatched. Like,
his production, his knowledge, he's our linebacker too.
Oh wow!
So
yeah. I'm gonna look up his combine testing right now. I've heard from people that I really respect a lot of good things about him, and like they think he can like pretty much step in and start.
Yes.
Oh wow, 230 pounds with basically 32-inch arms and a 6'8", 5'3" cone and a 409 short shuttle. Wow. Yeah, he's definitely got the athleticism part about it. See, with him, I can already safely assume that if he has above average instincts, you know what I mean, that would lead me to believe that he could be a starter. If just guessing. Obviously you have to watch him, but 4.56 speed. There's a guy I listen to on a Sirius XM radio show. You guys should check out. His name is Pat Kerwin. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's a former front office executive, and he does a show called Moving the Chains on Sirius XM.
All right.
But when he was in the front office for the Jets, he had a explosion number that he used to measure a player's explosiveness. And what he would do is add up the reps of the bench press, plus the inches of the vertical jump, plus the feet of the broad jump. And if that number is at or near 70, then that would be a really, really explosive player. So Ben Burr-Kirven is 34 plus 21, 55 and a half plus 10, 65 and a half. So he's right at 65 and a half, which is a really explosive one. And we already see the 6'8", 5'3" cone and 4.09 short shuttle. So we know he's really agile. So he's clearly athletic and explosive. And you say he has a lot of production because he's a senior?
Yeah, he led the nation in tackles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna watch him today. I meant to do it yesterday. I just didn't have time.
Yeah, no, please, reach out. Let us know what you think of that, because I'm like it was said, we're high on him. So yeah. I like the production. I like the leadership. I like the football IQ.
And he's ranked like super low, like third day.
Yeah, like late third day.
Like everyone talks about Blake Cashman, like you were saying, but like Burr-Kirven is like.
I think I'm taking Burr-Kirven over Cashman.
Yeah, I completely.
Right. Burr-Kirven didn't have double shoulder surgery.
Yeah, that's another thing.
He had 176 tackles last year.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
So
5.5 for a loss and 2 sacks. 2 picks. 4 fumbles.
I mean, we like the Notre Dame linebackers too, Tranquil and Coney. I like them too. I mean, I'm not as high on them as I am Kerfoot, but I don't hate them.
Right. Yeah.
All right, let's. I All right, so let's go to overhyped prospects.
Okay.
Now I think personally, this is only me personally, I think DK Metcalf is overhyped.
I agree. I mean, even though I still like him a lot, I do agree that he's overhyped because people are trying to put him in like the top 10 picks and stuff like, you know, even I've seen people like top 5, you know, like, he can run a 40. I don't care.
No, I don't care. He can't run a
Well,
route.
my problem is that he's not agile. His 3-cone in it was so bad. I'm just sitting there like, I don't want a guy that can just run straight. Like I need a guy that can run the route tree. And,
Right.
Yeah.
And if you are going to run straight, you better have the best hands.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't.
Yep. I don't think I think he's a really, really good wide receiver too. Like he needs number one.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Like imagine if he was on the Saints, he'd be rookie of the year.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
without a doubt, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, or the Packers, he'd probably be rookie of the year there too.
Yeah, I think he would do really well there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But as far as like, you know, if you're trying to draft him top 10 to be your number one receiver,
it's a recipe.
I think you're missing. Yeah, I think you're looking at a 50 catch guy for like 800 yards and 6 touchdowns a year. I think, you know what I mean? That's just a big play guy, not a consistently productive guy, but a big play. You know, he'll make a bunch of splash plays and
that's cool and all, but he's not a 1. Like you said, he's a 2, and I'll stand by that. I like that. Now this next guy, these are my 2. I found 2 that have been really overhyped, and I think they're the 2 that have been most talked about. Is Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he's such a wild card, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I've already, and this doesn't really happen to me often, but I've already went from thinking that he was no way. You know what I mean? I was just like, my first watch him, I'm like, nah, he can't do it. He's just too little. It's not going to translate. And then I went back and watched him again, and I was like, okay, he's, you know, and I can see it. And he measured bigger than he was a little bit bigger than I thought he'd be at the combine.
Yeah, but I mean, go ahead.
He didn't run, so we don't know if that's his real playing weight. You know, where's he gonna play at?
Right.
But now I'm just like, look, I like his talent. I like his arm. He's very, very accurate. But I just don't know. He's a wild card. You know, if you're willing to commit to a wild card like that, then he's not a bad option. Right now, I would take Drew Lock over him, and I would take Haskins over him. And this Drew Lock love, for me, Drew Lock has moved up to my number 1 quarterback. It's just he's the best quarterback in the draft, in my opinion, as far as like. And I used to think he needed a year. I don't think he needs a year. I think he can come in day one and be a productive starter.
Wow. Our top 5 quarterbacks, I got Haskins 1, but I think he needs a year.
Yeah, I agree.
I got Drew Lock 2, because I mean honestly that's all due to you and the hype and the proof that I've seen and watching him read and check down, and I love it. I love watching the process because I never saw it with Kyler Murray. Every clip I've seen it's always one guy.
Yeah. It's a system that does require the quarterback to make reads, but it's like quick little easier reads, you know.
Yeah.
It's like maybe they're gonna go here or here.
Exactly.
But like Drew Lock's, I mean, I'm seeing his head start all the way left and come all the way back right.
Yes,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? And not even there's a play that I think I highlighted it, or I'm going to in my next post when I do a whole full breakdown of him. But he's like working to his right, and he comes off a couple progressions to his right, and nothing was there, and he didn't look and then throw back to his left. He just turned and threw because he knew what he had over there. You know, it was like he looked all the way back left, and he knew he had one-on-one, and the guy was running the comeback, and he knew his guy would win. So it was like he knew exactly where that guy was, and he knew that was his safety outlet. You know what I mean? So I'll find the game, and I'll let you guys know what it is, or I'll post it.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
It was just ended up being like a 7-yard completion, but the fact that he just
looked in, he's like, all right.
Yeah, he knew where to go, and there was, Drew Lock. When you said Patrick Mahomes, that's literally what I think of him. I think Patrick Mahomes. I could easily see him having a Patrick Mahomes type impact, and their playing styles are similar too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like that. After what I've seen, yeah, I like it. So yeah, we got Lockett too, but if I like his upside,
Yeah.
I have Kyler at 3 just because he's incredibly athletic,
Right.
and I like the agility with the feet. I think his arm talent is. I think he has elite arm talent.
Yeah, I
Um,
do see.
Yeah, but playing center field in baseball, like that's kind of just has to be a given at this point. Like,
yeah, but I guess my worry with Murray is,
yeah, I think it's fit. Like that to me.
yeah, I mean you have to be in a specific
Hey,
offense.
if he doesn't go at 1, and Gruden doesn't take him, where does he go?
I
Murray.
know. I'm
Yeah,
expecting
he doesn't.
a
Dave
huge
Gettleman's
slide.
not drafting Kyler Murray, I promise.
No, I mean,
I
where,
don't
not.
where's he go to? Where's he go to the Bengals?
that Yeah, that would probably be the earliest he would go after that. John Elway's not drafting him.
No, if John Elway drafted him, I would be stunned.
Yeah.
What about the Dolphins? I've heard like
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what?
they would take him, I think.
just
And where are
because
they
like
sitting at 13? The Dolphins,
Yeah,
I think.
Dolphins are at 13.
because they got Fitzpatrick for 2 years, so
Yeah, but
it's like
Fitzpatrick's not a starter.
Yeah, no,
He's a great backup in my opinion. I think he's one of the better
definitely.
backups.
And that's just kind of like that he keeps them respectable enough. But the thing about it is, Fitzpatrick, if let's say, it drives me crazy when people say the Dolphins are tanking because they want to draft the quarterback next year. It's like, you think Flores got hired in his job interview? He was like, "Yeah, look, so we're going to lose a bunch of games, this year, and then we'll draft one of the quarterbacks that I hope will be good next year." That doesn't exist in the NFL. Number one. Number two.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
No. Number two, if that was the case, they damn sure wouldn't have signed Fitzpatrick, because he is going to get you 5 or 6, 7 wins, and that's just enough to keep you out of the top 3 or 4 picks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I agree.
he's good enough he's competent enough as a quarterback to win enough games to where you'll be 6-10, 5-11,
I agree.
7-9.
All right, so let's finish up with boomer bust players. Now, I copy that with DK Metcalf, Kyler Murray. I think they are going to be boomer bust.
Mhm.
Now, I did add, and Jimmy agreed, Noah Fant.
You think so? I think he's pretty safe. Personally,
I think he tested more. His size he's a large receiver, is what he is.
yeah.
He's not much of a tight end. He's not going to block anybody. He's essentially a number 2.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
So as a number 2, I think he's going to do just fine.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's a tight end.
As a tight end,
yeah.
I think he suffers, or not suffers, but struggles.
Yeah, he just won't be blocked. He just won't block. That's what I'm saying. I feel like
he'll chip and run.
Well, I don't think like boomer bust. I just think like the situation, like he's not gonna block whatsoever. That's what I think when it comes down.
Yeah, I mean, I think late first round, I would take, like, I think I mocked him to the Raiders down on their later first round picks, and that's just that's just a good.
Yeah,
I think that's just a good spot for him, and a good fit, because Gruden likes to utilize the tight end. They had a lot of success with Jared Cook. Was it last year? And he's a lot better than Jared Cook right now. So
definitely.
Hands down,
much more dynamic. So I think he'd be really productive in that spot for Oakland. So.
And then my last guy that I had and Jimmy agreed on.
It's kind of given, like Tyree Jackson.
Tyree Jackson.
Yeah.
I love Tyree Jackson.
I'm not, explain that, because I haven't seen enough on him to just love him.
Okay, here's the thing I'll say. I'll make it pretty convincing argument here, I think. Okay, so Tyree Jackson is, I think, 6'7", 245, whatever. He's, we know he's huge.
Yeah,
his size is undeniable.
Oh, God.
The majority of his, the majority of what he knows about playing quarterback, I heard him say this. He literally watched YouTube videos to figure it out, right? So, like, he was when he went to college, I mean, that's obviously they helped teach him there, but he literally, right now, he is such a moldable ball of clay with incredible athleticism and real elite arm talent. It's like, it's just a matter of coaching, and he'll take the coaching. I know I've heard him interview from former GMs and former front office guys enough to be able to, like, he's just a good kid, and he's just got such raw talent. I could see him out of the league in 3 years, or I could see him being a legitimate starter, like Joe Flacco with mobility in 3 years.
So you're saying he has the attributes, it's just a matter of him being coachable and learning the game.
Yeah, exactly. He's the most moldable ball of clay of any quarterback in the draft by far. Like he's just like, what can you make of him?
So like if we figure like he'll go in like the second or third round.
I don't know how the NFL views him. I would take him in the third round.
I think in the third round.
100%.
I mean, you look at him; he's got an arm. He's obviously intelligent. If he used YouTube to learn how to play quarterback, I mean that takes a whole different level. You have to have a skill set, and you have to be smart to do that.
Yeah,
so
he's
that's
from like
impressive.
a real tiny little town, and he wasn't highly recruited. He ended up at Buffalo, and I mean, would you watch him at the Senior Bowl? He looked really good. He looked like he belonged, and this year's Senior Bowl had a lot of really good defensive players, and
that defense.
He had himself a day on the game too, and I watched the practices. I watched only one practice, but live, and I really paid attention to him, and I really like his presence out there, and I just like his arm talent, And which one was it? It was Hunter Renfrow. I heard an interview from Hunter Renfrow, I believe, and they asked him, what quarterback throws the best ball for you personally, And he was like, oh, Tyree Jackson. They were on the same team, and he said without hesitation, Tyree Jackson throws the best ball, just for his personal preference or whatever. But
all right, saying something concerning you keep playing on the best team in the country,
right?
Yeah.
And he said he compared him a little bit to Trevor Lawrence in the fact that they're really tall, and maybe that was why tall guys with accuracy that can kind of like throwing down, I guess, towards them.
Plus they can launch it too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tyree runs like 4.59 and he plays that fast, and he he at that size to run that fast, and when you watch him on tape, I've seen him make some plays in the run game where I'm just like kind of like what he's got real athleticism, and he's got real upside.
Well, I like that. Even if he's that coachable too, like you see if like quarterback doesn't work out, throw him at tight end or something.
I saw an interview with him. I think it was on NFL Network. He seems like a good kid.
Yeah,
he seems like a good dude. He just wants to go out and help the team win.
Yeah, I think he's quarterback all the way. Could he play tight end? Probably so. But I just think.
I mean, he's huge. He's definitely big enough to be tight end, and he's fast enough.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you, Evan, for being on the show, guys. If you like what you heard, don't forget he's got an Instagram. He's got a Twitter. Instagram, Fair Shake Football. He's on Twitter at FairShakeFB. Evan, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, it was good to have you on with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem.